gentlemen, and whatever else you want to call your bloody self. I don't care anymore. We have rather interesting news, but this was gathered by the great and feared nomad who went out in the wilderness, fought his way through all these Russian agents, and found out. All yours.
Yeah. All these Russian agents that are trying to kill us all. Now, don't get me wrong. Right? I want. We got a lot of stories about obviously what's been happening. All right, and I've got a lot of commentary to make. Okay,
Yep.
and I did not pull up the one site that I really do love that you gave me for that that live map.
Yeah, man.
Right.
That's awesome. Still, just saying,
Because
I love that site.
Well, it gives you a lot of information. I mean, it does give you a lot of good information about what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I didn't pull up another story. All right. Because we're going to talk about this. We're going to even though I didn't bring that up, there's a ton of stories out here. So let's get started with this, shall we?
Okay.
Oh no, I just freaking screwed that up.
Done it again. Outstanding.
I hate you. And I don't mean you, Jenson. I mean this freaking thing.
Yeah, there we go. Don't touch anything.
Let's start with the first one. Lindsey Graham hit with bipartisan blowback after calling on Russians to assassinate Putin. Yeah, good old Lindsey Graham. The Republican from South Carolina was sharply criticized by fellow lawmakers on both sides of the aisle Thursday after saying the only way to end the crisis in the Ukraine is for the Russians to assassinate President Vladimir Putin. Is there a Brutus in Russia? Is there a more successful Colonel Stauffenberg in the Russian military? Graham tweeted referencing the Roman politician who participated in the assassination of Julius Caesar and the German military officer who attempted to kill Adolf Hitler. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this for a moment. All right.
Yeah.
This is a bad statement by Graham. Okay.
Okay. No,
right?
Really? I'm shocked.
It's not a surprising statement from Graham because Graham is an idiot. Okay, Lindsey Graham is someone who unfortunately has been in Congress too friggin' long.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons why I believe in term limits, so you can get rid of people like him.
Yep.
All right. It's not that I have a problem with people saying, okay, let's send let's do in Putin. All right. I really don't have a problem with that concept in and of itself.
Yeah.
But who's going to do it? Are you going to do it, Lindsey? No. Are you going to go in there on a super secret spy mission, invade the Kremlin, and do in that son of a bitch? No. You're expecting somebody else to do it for you. You're a F-tard, okay? You're a tard, dude.
I suggest you send over Kamala Harris. Because, quite simply, if she succeeds, you're getting rid of two things that's bad for America. If she fails, you're getting rid of one thing that's bad for America. It's a win-win.
Well, no, it's not. Because she'd probably all good old Putin would have to go is want a job. She'd be like, sure. Right there's the mattress. Anyway, that's who she is. Okay.
Unfortunately, true.
You'd see her on freaking porn sites, all right, from Russia, all right, all over the place. That's what would happen with the Vice President of the United States. If she went over there.
You haven't heard this. Apparently, there are no porn sites that actually connect to Russia anymore. They've been completely, and I feel weird saying this, but they have been cut off by the porn sites.
Oh, the porn sites have cut off their Russian handlers?
Yeah.
Really.
I know.
You realize that most of these servers and everything are in Russia? so anybody making that kind of claim is just full of shit, folks.
I believe that. Yep.
All right. I mean, well, where else would you put them? You don't want them anywhere somebody can get their hands on them. So it's not going to be anywhere in the Western world.
True.
All right. So that's why a lot of these sites are actually stood up, are not in the United States. They're not in Western Europe, right? They're in third world countries around the world that will allow these kind of things to happen, right? So that's this. But okay, telling somebody to go assassinate Vladimir Putin, all right?
Oh, it's funny. It
Putin,
really is.
how does this help the situation at all? Honestly, how is this going to help the situation? It's bad enough that Zelensky comes out there and goes, look, I will talk with him, right? I'm willing to talk. Let's sit down. We can have a talk. You're going to sit down with Putin. Zelensky, you're gonna sit down with Putin? No, you're not. You were better off sitting there saying, we will fight on the beaches. We will fight, and saying you're gonna fight to the ends of the earth. Okay.
Yep.
Now I've been watching some of these things, and I came across a video. All right, that was actually very good. All right, in explaining how Russia is doing things, because there's certain things that I don't understand about what Russia's trying to do here. Okay, for one, now I will say this: one thing that I am kind of surprised about is, and this is very true.
Okay,
I'm surprised he's actually trying to take out Kiev. All right, I'm surprised he's actually trying to get his hands on Zelensky, and if he gets his hands on Zelensky, he's going to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, Putin is after Zelensky. All right, I truly believe that. But if you take a look at what they've been doing on a map, right, and where they've been going, to be honest, they're not trying to take over all the Ukraine, right? So I was looking at this stuff going, just what are how is the Russians doing this? And then I ran across a site that gave us a document that explains exactly how the Russians will look at this. And I'll be honest with you, from the Russian perspective, they're right on time. Okay? All these things, all these attacks and everything, this is how the Russians will do things. Now, the Russians do not have certain mentality. They have a certain mentality with their air power, all right, that is completely different than how we assert air power.
Yep.
And that's what you're seeing here when people are talking about, the Ukrainians are defeating them in the air. No, the Ukrainians are not defeating them in the air, folks. Right? They are following their doctrine.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that I kind of forgot about. I should have remembered it, but there's one thing that I kind of forgot about, right? Which is, if you take a look at what they initially moved in with, right? They took all the conscripts, they took all the slugs, they took the worst elements within the Russian military, and they sent them first.
Yeah.
That's why they sent that butcher from freaking Chechnya in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they send them out there under certain, to basically blow holes in there, right? And take the brunt of the first part of the attack before they actually move in forces. And they're following their doctrine. They're following it to a T right now, and it's not behind schedule. Like we've been trying to pump up. A lot of people have noticed this. We've been trying to pump up these people,
Yeah.
And the reality is Putin's not falling for it any more than he's falling for this.
Okay.
Let's put this back up there. Doggone, I don't want to do that.
I can just add to stream at any point. Would you like me to?
Why is this not? Yeah, add that to the stream, please. I don't know why everything's not working now. I used to have the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
right? You end up with stupid shit like this. Biden, in a major show of strength, cancels a test of a Minuteman III nuclear missiles to demonstrate restraint and to avoid angry Putin. Boy, there's a freaking decision, isn't it? The Pentagon announced Wednesday that it will delay its nuclear missile test scheduled for this weekend to avoid angering Russian President Vladimir Putin as he continues shelling Ukrainian cities and civilian and military casualties continue to climb. The Defense Department spokesman John Kirby said the move is a show of restraint after the Russian. No, it's a show of stupidity.
Yep.
Okay, it is an absolute show of. My God. What the hell are you thinking, you freaking bumbling idiot? Seriously.
Should have tested the missiles on Moscow. That way you could find out if they worked.
No, what the hell are you thinking about doing? Now, everyone's been talking about how the Russians have they've stalled outside of Kiev. No, they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they are following their doctrine.
Yeah.
Okay, and well, what about the air? There's no consistent air power. Well, that's because they don't use air power the same way we do. Okay, they don't, and the reason they don't is because they can't. Okay, in the West, all right, we came up with a military doctrine of combined arms, right?
Yeah.
The Russian idea of combined arms is different. Okay. And when they talk about air assets to help the ground support, they don't expect that kind of assets from the air. They expect to just seize control of the air and stay with their jets and so forth, staying above. Their lower stuff, their bombing campaigns are all for the most part strategic. They're not tactical. Right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about their air power. And I realize that there's some difference. When they bring in the helicopters, that's ground support.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I know.
but the ground support elements, even if you read their doctrinal stuff, right, are not close air support. They don't believe in close air support.
No.
Okay. Now, you would say I can hear people going, they believe in close air support. They drop their bombs everywhere. They're not when they're doing that. It's not because they're not trying to provide support to the ground. They're just trying to kill the enemy. And if some of their own troops are there, oh well. Okay, that's how they look at it.
Who does that remind me of? No, I can't think of any country that ever do that. Carry on.
All right. We don't do that. What are you talking about? Are you trying to make an accusation about the United States?
Did I at any point accuse you? No. Now that's interesting. That
we are. Let's be perfectly frank here. When we hit a site and we screw up and hit the wrong ones, it's not that it's because we screwed up and are hitting something we think is the enemy. We just happen to be wrong. Okay, it's not because we're just trying to obliterate an area. Right?
No, that is actually fair. I will actually agree there.
In fact, unfortunately for the Western mentality now, especially from the United States perspective, is we've gotten too cute by half with trying to just pinpoint hits.
Yeah.
Okay. Rather than just go, okay, eliminate this area, move in, eliminate this area, move in, eliminate. This is the Russian. The Russian doctrine is very simple. Put your troops forward. When they encounter a problem, you wipe the front of that, and then you move the troops forward again. All right? It's a very simple doctrine.
Yeah.
And it's very effective. All right? You can't deny that. But doctrinally now, one of the things that they've learned, you got to get, the Russians have their own way of looking at things. People are like, well, why aren't they attacking Kiev? They're not ready to attack Kiev yet from their mentality. We can't laminate over the fact that Switzerland is no longer neutral.
Yeah. Oh no. I think her next comment: prepare to be terrified. I mean, there's absolutely no chance the enemy can win. Germany want in too. Whoa! I'm so scared. Germany is so tough and so hard.
Yeah. What do they want in with?
No.
Verbiage.
Wrong question. Actually, you made the wrong question there, Nomad. Who do they want in with? That's
Yeah.
the question.
It's just like these other things, right? No, I mean, like dumb shit like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Say when.
Go ahead. Why is this not allowing me to
It
go to the
doesn't
screen?
like you today.
It does not. There's something different. I have to figure it out what it is. Putin's breathtaking hypocrisy. Russian dictator declares Ukrainians are extreme gangsters and accuses them of using civilians as human shields as his forces relentlessly bombard homes. Okay? He's not lying. Right? I mean, they are, okay?
Yeah.
The Ukrainians are and always have been a very anti-Russian kind of a little grouping there, and they have caused problems, all right, for the former Soviet Republic more than any
Yeah.
of the other ones. So from Putin's perspective, now saying they're extreme gangsters, you dude, you threw the Chechens in first. All right, let's be real blunt here.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a group of freaking terrorists, right? He sent in a whole unit of these things, right? Of Chechen terrorists, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they were.
Oh yeah.
All right, to brutalize what was going in here. So I don't think Putin has a whole lot to go. Well, they're extreme gangsters. Yeah, maybe, but all you're doing is proving that there's just a different family that you're fighting. Okay,
Yep.
let's be perfectly honest here. That same thing can be said about Putin. All right,
Yeah.
all across the thing. But are the civilians being used as human shields? There's a lot of. I got to give the Ukrainians credit here. They are trying to fight, and they're serious about fighting. Okay, there's no. That's not a joke. Now they're being overestimated as far as their ability to fight. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. They've been pumped up by the Western media to look like they're handy. They're taking it to the Russians. No, they're not. Okay, the Russians are not sent. What they've done is they've sent in backline units and penal units, for lack of a better term, in first. This is standard doctrine for them. You send the Chechens in like this. The Chechens are brutal, right? It was a brutal campaign to pacify them, and the ones that joined them are going to be the ones that you get rid of now. Putin's not an idiot. I'll be perfectly honest here. In a lot of ways, Putin's doing what he needs to secure his nation. All right, Chechnya won't rebel anytime soon. I guarantee you. All right, just put it out there. All right. And that's what they look at right now with the Ukrainians. They look at Ukraine as part of theirs, a part of their country. All right. And before somebody says, "Oh no, the Ukraine's been its own country," since when? All right. With all due respect, when did the Ukraine become a country unto themselves? They only came in after the fall of the Soviet Union. Yeah. Now, I'm not justifying. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not sitting there saying that they don't deserve, all right, their own nation or anything like that. I'm not putting any kind of context to that at all. I'm not saying they deserve what they're getting, all right? But to come back and try and say that the Ukrainians, well, when were the Ukrainians their own country?
Oh my God! It came into existence on 24th of August, 1991.
Right. When was it before that?
Yeah, we know it was Russia. You know it, I know it, everyone knows it.
Well, it was the Soviet Union, and before that, it was Russia. I mean,
Yeah.
In fact, the Rus family, right, where we get the name Russia from,
Yep,
began in Kiev. Okay, just to let you know. All right, so you're not. Now things have changed. I mean, things change over time. The Ukrainian language is not Russian. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is a different group, right? But it fell within the Russian Empire. It was been part of the Russian Empire for literally hundreds of years prior to the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of give and take here. Vladimir Putin has branded the Ukrainians extreme gangsters and claimed their army is using civilians as human shields, which they are. All right, hailed his soldiers as heroes, which they're not. All right, fighting to save innocent lives.
Which they're not. Yeah.
Not well. They're fighting to save the innocent lives of. Let's be perfectly honest. There were some areas that were mostly Russian,
Yeah.
right? And you can say that some of those innocent lives are trying to save. Okay, I don't think he cares about them, to be honest. All right.
No.
Said his invasion is going exactly to plan and schedule, which, believe it or not, is a lot closer to the truth than the other way around.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand. The Russians in this case are not behind schedule, not really.
No.
Okay, they're excuse me here. I've got to go ahead and talk for a little bit there, Jenson,
Okay.
while I blow
End
my nose here.
result.
I'll try and do that without blowing
Don't
out
worry.
anybody's eardrums or anything. So
End result. This entire war is highly questionable. I'll be completely honest with you. Is it going to actually is it going to be cleared up? To be honest, I'll be surprised if it actually lasts till the end of this month. I will be completely honest with you. Something will have happened one way or another. Most likely, Russia would have gone stompy stompy, and Ukraine would have just gone, sir, yes, sir, sorry, sir. Now, you know it, and I know it. It is what it is. Unfortunately, unfortunately, there's not really much us in the West can really do. At the end of the day, what are we expected to do? Okay, are we supposed to go and attack Russia? The guy has literally said, "If you screw with me, I will nuke you." And by the way, hey Laszlo, it's a subtle clue there. Maybe you know, maybe you spotted it. I think it was the "I'll nuke you" part was the best bit.
sorry about that.
Yep,
Well,
no problem.
that was me hitting wrong buttons.
That's it. I'm saying it, boomer.
Yeah, well, you can say that. I mean, that's me not knowing which ones of these things necessarily to go with. But no, the Russian philosophy in these things is not what people understand, right? It's not our doctrine. They have a Russian doctrine. They have a post-Soviet doctrine, but it's a lot different, right? And they learned a lot from the Chechen wars, right? The first problem that you got with the Russians, you got to remember this: the Russians, their idea of too many casualties is when you can't continue the forward movement. Okay? They don't care. They don't care, especially with these beginning units, because they will get them completely wiped out. That's their intention anyway. These penal battalions that they start with, all right, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about them. They don't care if they get killed. All right, they throw them out there. They tell them to go to an area, and if they get shot up, they're like, okay, that's where that's at. All right. They go in and they probe an area, and then they go back to where they were. All right. They're not the one thing that the Russians do not want to get involved in. All right. And this is something people got to understand. The one thing Russia learned from World War II, the Soviets learned from World War II, is fighting in cities, house to house, sucks. Sucks really freaking bad.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And it leaves you maybe in charge of the city, but the city is now rubble.
Yeah.
Okay, That's not what. That doesn't mean that they're not willing to destroy cities. What I'm saying is that they're like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And their way to do this now is basically surround an area, right? And then once you have it surrounded, you start you start going in slowly, piling in on it, right? They're not going to just go in there like they did in Stalingrad, right? The Stalingrad was them in a defensive mode. In an attack mode, they've learned not to do it this way. Not to go in and try to get a Stalingrad of their own going. They surround the city completely, and then they'll slowly put pressure on it until it surrenders.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you look and you slowly ratchet as you surround them. You slowly ratchet the bombings. You slowly ratchet up the freaking artillery, and that's what they've done. They've stopped right outside of Kiev. They're right at their artillery range where they can launch in artillery as they slowly set up a ring around that city, and that's what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you take a look at what they've been doing in the South, it's a little bit different. Right? In the South, basically what they did is they secured the Crimea. All right, they did move out from the Crimea, and then they went, for the most part, they put a bulwark, all right, toward the rest of the Ukraine as they went along the coastline up to the point where they're going to try and create a corridor, all right, all along that coastline up to those two breakaway areas that are mostly Russian, ethnically Russian. Right, that's what they're doing, and they created a pincer movement in that. Okay, so the idea that the Russians are losing badly here from a military perspective, no, they're following their doctrine.
Right. Say when.
Go ahead.
Yes, there we go.
Bodies are piled up into a van after a Russian rocket strike on a TV tower kills 5. Defiant Mayor Vitaly Klitschko vows, "We will fight," as Kiev awaits Putin's siege following attacks on other cities. There is a siege coming. It's not. It's going to be a while, though, yet.
Yeah, hold up one sec. Perhaps the audience can tell me this, but this guy Klitschko, isn't he the boxer? Carry on. Hopefully one of the people who will actually know. But I vaguely remember the name Klitschko with boxing.
He was. But he's not the one you're thinking of. That's his brother.
Oh, right, okay.
All right. But he was but he was also into boxing and everything else. So, okay. Yes. You're not wrong.
Hey.
Bodies of 5 victims from a rocket strike on Kiev's television tower were on Wednesday morning piled into a van and removed from the site by police as the capital's mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, warned that Russian forces were getting closer. Klitschko also today defiantly vowed, "We will fight on the beaches. We will fight in it." No, we will fight to defend the city amid fears that it will soon be battered by artillery fire from a 40-mile-long death convoy parked nearby.
Carl is right with this. And he bets that TV tower strike also severed the uplink for drones. Now, I wonder if we can talk Putin into actually getting the BBC for us.
One of the things that's a very astute point, Carl. And one of the questions that I've looked at is they hit that tower with something that was suboptimal. All right, from an American perspective, folks, you got to understand, Americans like blowing things up and watching them tumble. Okay?
No, really?
Right. So I watched that hit and I was like, did it really damage the tower? I'm looking around. No, you take the legs out, you drop the whole freaking thing. What the hell's this?
Mm-hmm.
From an American perspective, just so people understand the difference here. This is Russian restraint. Really? All right. I mean, did you see the strike on the tower?
No, I didn't. Was it any good? Was it worth the effort, or am I considering?
You see the tower. You see them hit. You see the explosion, right? And I'm like, okay, at that point I was waiting for the tower to drop, but they didn't hit it with enough. They just hit the one area with the tower. They didn't hit the whole tower. They didn't try to take the tower down.
Oh.
Right. Which is why they just recently, unfortunately, got these bodies. Yeah, here's the tower. They hit the tower right here intentionally. They did not hit any of the leg supports or anything to try and drop that thing. Americans, I'm going to tell you right now, from an American perspective, we'd have dropped the tower.
Yeah. So are the British, but
right.
In all fairness, I can actually tell you what the British would do is turn around to the Americans and say "kill," because let's face it, they know how to blow shit up.
I mean, we do, and we like dropping things. Okay, we real blowing them. Just because it's like cool, looks like a tree coming down. It goes back to our lumberjack days. I'm serious, right? Now this thing is one of the problems with it is you can take a look at several aspects of this. Right, see this area here.
Mm-hmm.
This is obviously an observational area with people in it.
Yeah.
Right. This is a big area, but if you notice going up this thing, right, you have multiple areas where they've got horns. Right.
Yeah.
It looks like this was one of the central communication points.
Yeah.
Okay. And the area they hit, which is down here, right, is probably where all that is connected with all the stuff up above it.
Yeah.
So it did some damage. This was an effective strike. It took down. It is basically taking down everything. And as you see, the Russians are not coming in here bombing the whole freaking area because that isn't the doctrine that they use. Right? It's not the aerial doctrine. People have been asking why did the first part of the Russian Air Force was to blow holes in the areas to give them a chance to go in, and then they seem to stop. See, American doctrine is okay. You blow open a hole, then you bring in the slow stuff, right? That can really pound the holy crap out of things, like A-10s, right? All right, slow moving B-52s now have a corridor. They don't have to worry about missiles.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the American doctrine of things, right? We believe in obliteration, right? I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you the truth. The Russians, this is surgical strikes for the Russians. All right, this is what they do.
Here you go. Try this one for American tactics when it comes to blowing things up. If it moves, bomb it. If it doesn't move, bomb it till it does move, and then bomb it again anyway.
We don't
Sound
do it
about
quite
right?
well. That's a bit of overkill. We shoot at it, and if it shoots back, then we call it artillery. And if the artillery didn't stop it, we call it bombs. Well, we call it artillery or bombs, depends on what it is, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're running in a nice column, that's when you get the B-52s. Okay. When there's an area to remove, we remove it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's old school. We don't do that so much anymore. We now just fly around looking for groups of people to drop things on. Right? I'm going to be perfectly blunt. Right?
Cough, cough, Turan. Cough, cough.
Well, no, we're doing like they think of it as surgical. Okay, I'll be honest with you. They think of it as surgical.
Does define a person's thing of surgical. That's
it's not all right. In that you're wasted an area, but we tend to want to try and pick and choose what we're hitting, and instead of just going out there and obliterating an area. Well, there's a power or a thinking there that's a bit wrong, because if you just do pinpoint strikes too much, okay, the enemy doesn't get scared.
No.
All right. Our Air Force goes out there and takes out a tank, and they may take out 2 or 3 tanks, right? Instead of just going in there with B-52s and leveling the area and taking out 50 at once. That's Russian style, by the way, and that's coming. Okay.
Oh, that one's going to be fun, though, isn't it?
Now, I was reading a document, and they were talking about, Russian air support. Do you understand what Russian air support is? the Russian air support is they're close in air support. What they consider close in air support is 300 meters away. The enemy they're going to be attacking is supposedly 300 meters away, right?
Yeah.
Now you look at that and go, well, why the hell would they do that? Well, because they don't have the precision munitions. Well, for one thing, right? They don't have the coordination to do it either, right? In order to create coordinated strikes like that, you've got to be very close to knowing where you're dropping your shit so that you're not killing your own troops. Now, the Russians, when they get to that point, they don't care if they're killing their own troops. All right? So it's not, they do things to see, just to see what certain responses are. This is the Russian methodology, and it's methodical. What they're doing is methodical, folks.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped outside of Kiev. Why? They've got a 40-mile-long column. I'm not exaggerating this. Stopped outside of Kiev right now.
Yeah.
Now, we as Americans would go, oh boy, try that with us and see what happens. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, you will eat everything. Right? That column will be gone. Okay? And what's left of it will be shot at by freaking A-10s. Okay? That kind of mentality doesn't work with the American military. And I don't think the Russians will try to do that. Well, they may try to do it once, but they won't try to do it more than once with the American military. I guarantee you. Right?
Yeah.
Because we would hit that column with every freaking thing we had. You got 40-mile long column parked on the side of the road? No. Okay. You're eating now. We have the capability to do that. We can throw in cruise missiles, right?
Yeah.
If nothing else, right? If we want to do it. We've got standoff artillery just like the Russians do. Right? Yeah. Our MLRS batteries are will grid an area. Okay. But the Russians, to be honest, haven't been using their systems that way. They really haven't.
Are you saying that your MRLS will actually hit things and damage them, unlike the Russian ones?
Well, the Russians aren't firing them that way. The Russians, our belief is, when you bring in an MRLS, right, you're going for an area of destruction. Okay, yeah. You're saying this area, whatever grid you put in there, is now gone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're doing with these things.
To whom it may concern.
Now, can they be set to fire only one or two rockets? Yeah, they can, but that's not doctrinal.
No,
right? That's situational when you're trying to pick off something specific. Okay.
Let's be honest, dude. If 2 rockets will do it, then 30 rockets will really do it. So let's launch 50.
Well,
make it for sure.
It works. but what you're doing there when they do those things is you're taking out a grid. Okay. Yeah. You're taking out you're doing a denial of enemy in this area, and whatever is part of that. We don't do it all that often, to be honest. Okay. But when we have a FLOT or a front line of troops, then we'll do it there, right? Because we want to blow open a hole that our people can go through.
Yeah.
And it's very effective. Okay, let's be honest. All right, that's part of our maneuver. Okay, we're not doing. Can we fire? Okay, take out this hardened target by sending a couple of rockets into it. Yes, but the Russian doctrine isn't that way. The Russian doctrine is basically probe to an area to where you can get to, and then resupply. And that's one of the problems that the Russians have always had. Their initial hit, their initial hammer drive, right, can be very effective, but they have no sustainability. They have to stop after a certain period and rearm and reshuffle.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing right now for people who don't understand this. That's what they're doing outside of Kiev. They drove immediately close to Kiev, if you've noticed. They were out on the outskirts of Kiev with their that 40-mile long column, all right, 3 days ago. So what are they doing? People are like, well, why aren't they going in? Well, because now what they do is they set up the second part of this. They don't have the kind of sustainability in these kind of drives that the American military has been used to, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different doctrinal approach with the weapon systems that they have, but they're going to go in. When Putin sits up there and says this, that's why I did this story. Vladimir Putin says the violence will get worse and plans to take over all the Ukraine. It is going to get worse. Now, I don't know if he's planning to take over all the Ukraine, but he's going to freaking do a lot of damage to it to make sure that they understand that he's in charge of it.
Yeah.
Russia's attack on Ukraine is going according to plan, and the violence will get worse, says Vladimir Putin, warned today. The Russian president made an alarming comments to Emmanuel Macron, his French counterpart, during a long phone call on Thursday afternoon. After hanging up the phone at the end of the exchange, which lasted for an hour and a half, Macron said, "The worst is yet to come." Ding, ding, ding. Okay? You get it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you understand what's coming? This is how they prep things nowadays. They've learned some things. They learned in Chechnya, you don't just drive your troops in there because they get shot up.
Yeah.
So what you do is you drive your troops to an area, you set up a floored line, right, and then you send in rockets and artillery.
Yep.
And this is the result. And believe it or not, they've been doing for them pinpoint strikes. All right, honestly, have you seen them bring in any backfire bombers and try to obliterate an area?
That is true. I
Right?
have not seen anything like that, and you would. Funny enough, with what little I know about the Russians, I would have thought they would have by now.
But see, this is the velvety glove approach. We're not trying to destroy things, really. Houses are blown up here, but it isn't how they look at it, right? Yeah, no. The Daily Mirror now has a headline with the civilian casualties in Kiev and Russian troops are rampaging and raping people. Look, I hate to say this, but I have a feeling that that's intentional.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, you are correct with that. It really is. Because once you rape the enemy, you are showing absolute dominance over them. And that can actually break their spirit very quickly. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah. It's not a good thing. Hold on.
And we're back to just me. But first of all, hey Spud, long time mate. Hope things are going well, and I hope the Spudlings are all right. Now, Russia. Look, they're going to do what they're going to do, and you know full damn well that the West are going to do absolutely nothing. Why are they going to do nothing? Because quite simply, they're scared of them.
There. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No problem, sir.
Okay, that's what I should have been doing. I'm sorry. Trying to figure out all these different options that I have here, and I've been choosing the wrong ones every time.
Hey, you'll get
choosing the wrong one every time.
Dude, a stopwatch is right twice a day. You're just going through all of the options first. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Babylon Bee is correct here, right?
Oh.
Let's be perfectly honest. Let's pull up the Babylon Bee.
I kind of think it'd be funny if you called up the Babylon Bee that I sent you.
Americans cowered who cowered under government oppression for 2 years, urged the Ukrainians to die for freedom. This is exactly what is happening. Across the country, millions of Americans who cowered under oppressive government mandates for 2 years, these stupid mask mandates, right, are standing in solidarity with the Ukrainian people, urging them to give up their lives for freedom. Yeah, you go, Ukrainians, said a local Sam Miliband, all right, who happily let the American government lock him in his home and destroy every small business in the town. No matter what it takes, you need to fight for your freedom.
Yeah, check what Susan's put.
A college in Spain was going to ban Dostoevsky until
Yep.
they were laughed at.
Good idiots.
You're not going to get the Russians, right, to agree to any of this, right, by cowering to them. All right. You're not. The Russians are not going to back off just because you want them to. China's propaganda gears up for Putin. Blames America for the invasion. Yeah, we were running around going, "Come on in."
Damn you, Americans.
For most of February, Twitter user named Spicy Panda ACC churned out one uplifting tweet after another about the Winter Olympics and their host city, Beijing. Spicy Panda account celebrated Chinese aerial skier Zhu Mingtao.
Yeah, whatever.
Mingtao, a gold medalist and a role model who tells us love and persistence will make your dream come true. Spicy Panda praised Beijing and its many attractions, tweeting on February 14th that the tour of the snow-kissed Forbidden City is once in a lifetime experience. Okay. All right. The account's boosterism extended to the Chinese Communist Party. No, what a surprise. All right. Lauding the party's carbon emission goals. For those who don't know, the Chinese carbon emission goals are to increase for the next 30 years. All right? And I'm not exaggerating this. All right?
No, but it's all America's fault that China's doing this, don't you? Somehow.
Until they can get their nuclear plants up and running, which there's always problems with nuclear plants.
Yeah.
The watershed for the accelerated implementation of hydrogen energy. Hydrogen energy, huh? How do you get hydrogen?
I'm going to go cracking water.
Okay, you crack water, right? Mm-hmm. How do you crack water?
Usually electricity.
All right, what do you use to generate the electricity to get the hydrogen emissions?
I'm going to go with fossil fuels.
The major coal plants, they built like 50 coal plants last year.
I'm singing by the way.
It's just, on occasion, Spicy Panda took a more hard-edged tone, like when it criticized the Biden administration's pullout of Afghanistan. Who didn't? Okay. But the Biden administration's pullout of Afghanistan was criticized by everybody, including Americans. You had to line up behind people.
Yeah.
That was one of the dumbest. It's one of the dumbest, foreign policy mistakes you could ever make by pulling out that way. Yep. Then abruptly switched fronts to the looming conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. The Ukraine is not just a neighbor; it's an inherent part of our own history and spiritual space," said President Putin. In other words, it's ours. Hands off.
Yep.
Get your little paws off that, you freaking monkeys. Oh no, you think you're free? No, we'll put that down. You think that Ukraine is like a state to them, okay? And they're going to convince them that it's just a state of mind, a Russian state of mind. You have it, okay? I'm not gonna sugarcoat this for anybody. The Russians look at the Ukrainians as you're ours. And when I mean you're ours, you are our slaves. You do what we tell you. Okay? That is how they've always looked at the Ukrainians. You will feed us or else. Okay? You don't want sugarcoating on this? Okay? Well, what about starving our own starving children? We come first. We're Russians. All right? That's been their view. It is their view. All right? It will continue to be their view. Got it?
You can't actually disagree with it because let's be fair. Every single country out there would do that. If the world went so badly that it was a case of you could feed others or you could feed yourself, trust me, you're going to feed yourself.
This story goes on about China sitting up there giving propaganda and everything else, which is understandable. But the idea that the Russians are not that the Ukrainians are putting up a fight and that they're kicking the ass of the Russians. No, they're not. They're putting up a fight. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. And I suspect that the Russians are a little bit surprised about how effective some of their strikes have been. But to be honest, they're not behind schedule.
Nope.
understand this. The Russians are not behind schedule for this, because one of the things that they first did when people were talking about, like I said, those Chechens that they put in the front, those Chechens were put in the front to be eliminated.
Yeah.
Got a problem? Got an upcoming? Got a charismatic general? All right, that's Chechen. Not anymore. Not anymore. They put him on the front lines and got him and 60 armor units wiped out by the Ukrainians. And the Russians are like, that's a good day. All right? I'm telling you, that's their mentality. Okay? If he would have succeeded, they would have been like, I guess he's more useful than we thought. That would have been their approach.
And then it sent him back in the next day to kill more, or to get killed more, whichever you want.
Basically, yeah. 4 Russian fighters violate Swedish airspace. And this is a surprise to who? Oh, apparently to the Swedes. All right. Swedish armed forces said Wednesday that 4 Russian fighter jets had entered Sweden's airspace to the east of an island of Gotland in the Baltic, while the Russian incursions in the Nordic nation's airspace happened fairly regularly. No shit. All right, Wednesday's event was treated with increased scrutiny. Really? You think that an aggressive Russia might have been a problem? You dumbass Swedes? Welcome to life! Welcome to real life, dumbass! Welcome to all who do not understood, all right, just what America has provided for you, while you flipped your noses at us, while you sit up there and told us, oh, we're the big bad guy in the world, the Russians on everything. Well, you got a different view today now, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You got a different view. And I'll tell you what, Sweden, I'm going to be real blunt with you. You better pray I never in charge of the U.S. government, because you know what? I would be talking to the Russians going, hey, you want some Swedish meatballs? Go for it. Because you guys suck. Okay? You guys have backstabbed us on the world stage time and time and time again. And now you want the United States to save your ass? I'd be kicking back watching it with popcorn, right? Little 3D glasses, right? I'll be honest with you. You better hope I never get. I have no intention of running for government or anything else like that. But I'm telling you, the Swedes, you backstabbed us so many friggin' times. Yeah. Hell, you let these friggin' heathens. And I don't mean that from the term of not believing in God. I'm using that for the terms of how they act. You let these barbarians go in there and rape your own people, and you've got your own people who just got raped apologizing to them.
Yep.
Okay? You guys are screwed in the head. Put it out there. By the way,
he's not joking with that, everyone. That's actually a real thing.
Oh, we're going to save all these poor people, and they're raping our women, and our women are going on television apologizing for being raped.
Yeah.
They've got no-go zones where you don't want to go in there because, they'll get upset if you actually start. And don't believe me? Ask Tim Pool.
Mm-hmm.
That dumbass actually went there. Oh, it can't be that. Oh, yeah, it can. Right? According to the statement, the violation was brief, but the Swedish JAS 39 Gripen jets have been scrambled to document and photograph the 2 Su-24s and the Su-27 fighter jets. All right. Su-24s and Su-27s? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want people to understand something. The Su-27s are a 30-year-old airframe. I think, 35 years?
They were really good.
30 years. Yeah. They came out the late 80s, early 90s, right?
Yeah.
But that technology is way behind.
Yeah.
Right? So if they're using that, they're just basically playing games. Right? They're not serious about anything like that. They move it in they do put in a MiG-35 or one of the Su 37s, 35s or 32s. I don't remember their numbers.
No.
They're putting in their frontline shit. This is not frontline shit that they're throwing in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, that's in Chechnya, or not Chechnya, but the Ukraine. It's the same thing. They haven't been using their frontline troops initially. I saw a Hind 21, and those are a bit scary. A Hind 21 is a big. It is a big helicopter. It is old.
It's a brick.
Okay. They were using those in the Afghan war back in the Soviet Union days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's how old that airframe is. It's not top of the line shit, but they're big and they carry a lot of they carry a lot of power.
Yeah.
They carry a lot of firepower. They can throw in a lot of shit. Whether it's accurate or not, that's a separate issue. Right? But they can throw a lot of lead. Teenager who tracks Elon Musk's plane has a new obsession: monitoring Russian oligarchs. Vladimir Putin. Dumbass. Jack Sweeney, a Florida student, is now publicizing the movements of planes owned by Russian oligarchs, aircraft associated with Russian President Putin. Dude, just to let you know, right? I'm all for you continue to do this, but just understand, if at some point they say this is a nuisance and it has to stop, you might want to think.
Yeah.
I realize you're 19 and you think you're Superman and you're untouchable. The Russians have poisoned people for less. Okay.
I suggest we actually open up a literal Deadpool on him to see how long he lasts, because there are going to be some Russian gentlemen that will want to speak to him, and then that will be the last thing he will ever do.
No, what the Russians, it won't be a Russian gentleman. It'll be a quote-unquote supposed North Korean defector.
True.
That pays him a visit with a little spray. Psst, psst. Here's a little nerve agent. How's it feel, Jack? I'm putting it out there. This is not a joke. They will try to assassinate this kid. And I hope he's ready for it.
Matt is correct. In other news, teenager has been found with polonium poisoning. You're not wrong there, mate. You're really not wrong.
They'll do it. Mm-hmm. They will do it, and they will have elements that will do this. That's the unfortunate thing. Hey, Jack, do what you think you need to do. I understand. You're a free man. You're a teenager. You're a freshman at University of Florida, but it ain't going to save you from these people.
No.
All right, you're engaging into something that if they just deem it necessary, they will try to kill you. Understand it. And with Biden in charge, he will probably let them.
Yep.
All right. Now, this is a local representative. So, Representative Van Taylor apologizes for an affair with an ISIS bride. Abruptly drops re-election bid. Representative Van Taylor apologized Wednesday for an affair with an ex-jihadist dubbed ISIS bride by the British tabloids, and abruptly dropped his bid for a third term, conceding the GOP runoff to his rival, Keith Self, a former Collin County judge. About a year ago, I made a horrible mistake that has caused deep hurt and pain amongst those I love most in the world. I had an affair, and it was wrong. And it was the greatest failure of my life, he said in an email to supporters. The infidelity surfaced just before Tuesday's primary with the help of a third candidate, Susan Harp, Plano resident named Tanya Joya, a widow of the most infamous American to join the Islamic State, contacted Harp last Thursday hoping she would confront Taylor privately. Sure. All right, and persuade him to drop out and resign from Congress. Really? Do any of you people believe this?
No.
All right, this is not going to go well. All right, this guy was compromised and he dropped out of the race. All right. That's what this came on to, right? But
yeah.
Look. My first question, if you really want to do this, is why is this woman alive in the country? Okay, well, I'm sorry, but why is she alive in the country? Why isn't she
Dead.
Either dead or in jail. All right, that just putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll go on to another story. Beverly Hills store pleads guilty to laundering drug money. A Beverly Hills store in a strip mall on the Olympic Boulevard, which rents safe deposit boxes to customers, wasn't just holding clients' cash, jewelry, and other valuables. In a reversal of art imitating life, a criminal activity happening within the establishment's four walls could have been ripped straight from the scripts of Netflix's series Ozark. U.S. Private Vaults Incorporated, which ran the store, has pled guilty to conspiring with customers to launder drug money. Yeah, that's always a good plan. All right. Now, I got to give these guys credit because the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles reached a plea deal to prevent the filing criminal charges against the owners.
Wow.
So these guys basically rolled and are not going to jail for laundering drug money. Right? As such, upon sentencing, their company will be difficult to collect from, and it has almost zero assets. So, in other words, these guys are walking.
Yep.
All right. Now, that's bullshit. Still, the company admitted to flagrant wrongdoing when they recruited drug traffickers as customers and ran the resulting money through a business, aka cleaning the currency. The people who worked at the company also sold cocaine, set up drug deals at the store, showed customers how to make cash transactions so that they could cheat the requirements around currency reporting. And these guys are walking away. Yeah, they did a hell of a job here.
Yeah.
U.S. Supreme Court reinstates the death penalty, all right, for Boston Marathon bomber Dozkar Zaranev, okay? The Supreme Court on Friday reinstated the death penalty sentence imposed on the Boston Marathon bomber, all right, reversing a lower federal court of appeals, all right, ruling that it had voided that punishment. Guess not! In a 6-3 ruling. Gee, who was the three on the other side? Oh, the three liberals, super liberals, right? In the majority opinion, Dozkar Zaranev, all right, committed heinous crimes. The Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas wrote on Friday's majority opinion. The Sixth Amendment nonetheless guaranteed him a fair trial before an impartial jury. He received one. All right. The judgment of the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit is reversed. There you go. You gotta love Clarence Thomas. There's somebody. Look, there's a time to bring the hammer down, and he just did it. Oh, we gotta save the little criminal. Nope, the little criminal needs to go. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to kill Americans? Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Part of my language. You know, I normally don't swear like that, but you know what?
He deserves it.
My first question is, he's not dead yet? Right?
I know. I was actually surprised when you showed me that. I thought, you mean he's still alive? Wow.
This guy's been in jail for what? Going on 10 years now, right? So he's 29 now. He was.
Okay, wow. They should have actually done that down in Texas. I reckon it lasted about 10 minutes.
Well, we can't give him. He won't get it. Yeah, this is what.
No. This is what they say. Is that him? Yeah, bang. There you go. Oh, right. Shit, wrong one. Yeah.
Woman accused of decapitating a man during sex while on high on crystal meth. You mean if you give your freaking paramour crystal meth, she might freaking kill you and decapitate you?
Let's see.
She was accused of strangling and dismembering the 25-year-old body. All right. 24-year-old woman who appeared in court accused of killing and mutilating a man during sex while high on crystal meth. Taylor Shaw Business. I mean, I don't know how to say that. All right. Allegedly strangled the 25-year-old man from Green Bay, Wisconsin, then dismembered his body. She told police that she put the head and penis in a bucket. All right. Ms. Schwab Business from Wisconsin was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. Third-degree sexual assault? Really? Did she rape him? Is that what they're accused? She rapes the guy and then cuts off his head. Yeah, I think that we got a loot on our hands here. She says she blacked out during part of it because it just went crazy and started to strangle the victim. She allegedly then cut up the body, putting the remains in the basement in a minivan. They later found her at her home with dried blood on her clothing. Okay. One of the most serious offenses I've seen in this country in a long time, or in this county in a long time. I think the facts are extremely concerning and disturbing, and they go to the violent and grave nature of the offense. Yeah. She doesn't.
There's one important thing here, dude. She's not from Florida.
No, she's from Wisconsin. See
That's
what happens?
I mean. That is the thing you want to remember. Okay, she's done all this, and she's not from Florida. Good God, could you imagine what would have happened if she was?
Yeah. What's this here?
All I can say is, right there, that is what you call a Black Widow. Okay? Except she doesn't even bother with marrying them.
Not good. That's okay. We got a Florida thing. You were talking about Florida. Well, here you go. Florida man and his girlfriend had just reconciled. Then she threw his dog off a 7th floor balcony. This isn't reconciliation, okay? She did not reconcile. She was like, sure, honey, let me back in. Look, when you stick your dick in crazy, you made a mistake, all right? Now you tossed her, you had her gone, and you let her back in? You're an idiot, okay? Yep. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not on her side. I'm just saying you should have put a friggin' bullet in the bitch's back of the head. All right, I'm just saying this is some dangerous shit. Listen to this,
dude. In this situation, what happens is she goes yeet, dog goes flying, and then you drop kick the bitch to see if you can get her to catch the dog. Really, it's the only way to do it.
Eric Addison, all right, watched his off again girlfriend throw his cell phone from the 7th floor balcony of his Florida condominium on Sunday. After she did the same thing with his keys, he warned her he was going downstairs to call the police. Before he could, he watched Shelley Nicole Vaughn pick up his 3-year-old pug, Bucky. All right, Clearwater Police said. She smiled, Addison said. Then Vaughn threw the 13-pound dog off the balcony. You stuck your dick in crazy and you couldn't figure it out? Dude, you made a major mistake letting this anywhere near you, okay?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I started screaming and screaming and screaming. Dude, I would have been surprised if she picked your happy ass up next. The fall killed Bucky. Vaughn has been charged with felony cruelty to animals, domestic battery, misdemeanor criminal mischief. Oh my God! You don't tell me you're going to plead this down. They're going to let this bitch plead it down. She posted $21,000 bond for the 3 charges, and this woman is walking around free.
How safe do you feel,
dude? Get out. All right.
Mm.
I just I understand you got to come back for the trial, Eric, but you need to leave the state. I'm just you're under warning because you're next.
Yeah.
Anybody's going to do that to a 3-year-old dog. All right, 3-year-old dogs are not that large, especially pugs. Now,
Yeah.
they may not be the cutest things in the world. Some people find them absolutely adorable. I find the things just when it licks you in the
Unnatural.
face. When it licks you in the face, you can appreciate it. But until that point happens, you're like, that thing is hideous. Where's my golf club? Anyway, it's a joke. It's a joke, folks. It's a joke. All right. Yes. Here, see, this is Matt Bargain. Good luck throwing my dogs from anything. Yeah. At what point do you think leaving the crazy bitch who threw your cell phone and what else did she throw? Or his keys outside? At what point do you think leaving this crazy bitch in the house is a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. After the dog went off the ledge, I don't disagree with you. She may have. She fell off after the dog trying to catch it. She was making a joke.
Rubbish. But no, you don't have that. This is what you say as you kick her off. This is Sparta! And just kick the bitch flying. Okay? You know it and I know it.
I don't know who bucket this guy Addison. I don't know anything about him, but he should have been able to pick her up and go.
Yeah.
Whee! Go get the dog.
Can you fly, Bobby? Mm-hmm.
No, she jumped after the dog. She was horrified at what she did.
Yeah. Good excuse.
just put it out there. All right. For the final story of the day from the BBC. Abandoned rocket hits the moon, says scientists. A discarded part of a rocket should have crashed into the moon's far side by now, say scientists who were expecting the impact at 12:25 GMT. So about, 7 hours ago?
Yeah.
Right. The 3-ton rocket part has been tracked for a number of years, but its origin was contested. At first, astronomers thought it might have belonged to Elon Musk's SpaceX firm. Then they said it was Chinese. Something China denies. I wonder why. The effects of the impact on the moon should have been minor, right? The rocket stage would have dug out a small crater and created a plume of dust. Scientists hope to get confirmation in the coming days or weeks. The rocket part was first sighted from the Earth on March 2015. A NASA-funded space agency in Arizona spotted it, but quickly lost interest when the object was not shown to be an asteroid. You have a floating debris headed for the moon, and you guys just this is the state I live in, by the way. I just said, we want a rock. The rocket part, which is known as space junk hardware discarded from missions and satellites, all right, without enough fuel or energy to return to Earth. But you could get it out of Earth's orbit.
Yeah.
It had the ability to leave Earth's orbit. I think that you need to find out what the hell this was, to be honest. Some pieces are closer, it's just above the Earth, but others, like boosters, are thousands of kilometers away in high orbit, far from Earth's atmosphere. The European Space Agency estimates now there are 36,500 pieces of space junk larger than 10 centimeters. Well, I think we've got a mission now for the Europeans. Now, don't we? I think we have a mission for the Europeans to go around collecting. They can be the junk man of space. Right?
I tell you what, we'll even give them a dustpan and brush. Off you go, lads. Mm-hmm.
No space program or university formally tracks deep space junk. Monitoring space is expensive, and risks to humans from high orbit debris are low. Okay, but I'm sure there's plenty of volunteers that want to go out there and collect the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it falls to a tiny handful of volunteer astronomers who spend their free time making calculations and estimating orbits. They fire emails and alerts back and forth asking whoever is the best location on the planet to spot a object in space. 6 weeks after the booster was first seen, Peter Birtwistle, 63, was watching the skies for asteroids from his garden in Newbury in South England. See, this is your own people that are doing this. All right. His telescope picked up a tiny dot of light tracking across the skies. Calculations suggested it was part of a rocket, he told the BBC News. Space junk drops in and out of view, often unpredictably. For 7 years, he barely saw the rocket part until January when it reappeared. I grabbed some images as it passed close to the Earth, he explained. So these things are in elliptical orbits, so people understand. He sent his pictures to an astronomer, data scientist, Bill Gray, on the east coast of the United States. He's an expert who went on to identify it as a SpaceX booster headed for the moon, and then realized he was wrong. All right. News of the discarded part of news that the discarded part was one of billionaires Mr. Musk's space missions was going to strike the moon made global headlines. But tracking space junk is often detective work. The rocket insignia cannot be seen. Russians have a piece, or astronomers rather, have to piece together its identity by tracking its route backwards through space. How do you do that when you haven't been watching it?
Yeah.
I can tell you how
Quite
they do
impressive,
it.
isn't
They,
it?
they use math, okay, just so that people understand it. The problem is you have to be right in your math, right? That's why they thought initially it was Musk's, right? But Musk's stuff, the orbits and dates and everything are nowhere near this, right? So what they had to do was they had to go back and they redid this until they found out that this obviously came from China. For a Chinese mission, we know a launch date because they are televised. So I take a guess as to what's going to get to the moon, usually in 4 or 5 days. Then I compute the approximate orbit. Sometimes he makes mistakes. Weeks after the SpaceX identification, another observer sent Mr. Gray new data revealing that his identification was impossible. He ran the numbers again and concluded it was part of a third stage of a rocket from a Chinese lunar mission, Chang'e 5's T1, launched on October 2014. It amazes me just where some of this stuff stops, you know. where these people they throw stuff out there, especially China. All right, they don't report their shit. That's the biggest problem, and they don't watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't surprise me that their first thing was to blame Elon Musk. The problem was is when they first blamed Elon Musk jumped up immediately and said, "Oh, we're sorry," and then they calculated where all their shit is and said, "This isn't ours." All right, because nothing they have thrown into space could get into high orbit where this thing is.
Yeah.
Right. And what I mean by high orbit, I mean orbit to the point where you're on course to visit the moon inadvertently. The moon is not close to the Earth, folks. It's hundreds of thousands of miles away. Right. It's not in near orbit. And Elon Musk's his rockets can't place something in an orbit. Now, I'm not saying that they can't hit the moon. They can't. Okay. Because you don't put it in an orbit that way. Right. But for the most part, you don't have the impetus to throw that stuff out there. It made more sense. It made no sense that this was actually an Elon Musk rocket. It's all right. It does make sense that it is part of a rocket that was doing a lunar mission to begin with. Okay, because that would put it far enough out there to actually do something. That would give it the the trajectories to get out far enough to actually hit the moon. To hit the moon is not as easy as you think it is, right?
You'd think it would be. I mean, let's face it, it's a pretty bloody big thing, and it's generally up there. It's not like it's dodging or anything.
Well, you know what orbit it's taking,
True.
but the amount of power it takes to get to the moon is significant.
True. Yeah.
Right. If you go back to the Apollo missions, right, where we landed people on the moon and brought them back, if you take a look at our capsules and everything, we use Saturn V's. Okay, the biggest freaking engines that have ever been created, just to throw that shit out there. All right, that small little capsule to go out to the moon and come back. Right. Excuse me. That's amazing. It's amazing that we even actually did it. I'll be honest with you.
I was going to say that it is amazing we actually did that. And in all fairness, as I was saying to you earlier, just think of what we're going to be able to do in 100, assuming humanity doesn't do what I think it's going to do, which is cut itself off. Imagine the sort of technology we're going to have in 100 years. All it takes is you go back 100 years and we hadn't landed on the moon yet. I mean, good God. By timeline, 100 years ago, we were doing the Charleston.
Yeah,
okay?
That's true.
That was it. I mean, ooh.
That's very true. You know, we were in a different different realm back then. So that's everything I've got for now. So I think it's about time. We've been going for an hour and a half here. So
Yep, no problem. In that case, thank you very much for listening, ladies, gentlemen, and whatever else you want to call yourself. Hope you'll listen to us next time and you had some fun. Thank you very much for that, Nomad, and I'll see everybody later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.